Hey everybody, and welcome to today's STEMpump camp, where we're going to be building a platformer game using GameMaker. GameMaker is an awesome tool used for 2D and sometimes 3D games that allows you to take advantage of drag and drop as well as full-on syntax-based code. We're going to be using GML, which is GameMaker Language, to code up a pretty quick platformer with collisions and gravity, and maybe a few other things if we have a little bit of time. You'll have a link to download GameMaker on the sidebar. And so yeah, once you're done downloading it, you'll see a screen like this. We're gonna hit new, click new blank. I'm just gonna save this to my desktop. I'm gonna name it STEMpump Camp Game. Cool. And you'll see a view that looks just like this. You can kind of go over the basics of what we have. So at the top we have all these little buttons. This is our run button, our stop button, our home close project / home button, our new project, open, save. This is our export tool basically, so create executable, debug mode, clean. This is kind of a help bar, then zoom out, zoom in, and then I guess reset view, or the zoom. And then this is collapse and expand. They call this the dock, I presume. Yeah, dock panel. And you can kind of swap between things if you'd like, but we don't currently have it open to the asset browser. And here's where we kind of create our objects and our sprites, which are kind of the two big things we're going to be playing around with today, as well as rooms, which there's already a sample room there. So we can kind of get started. Let's click on sprites, the folder, hit right click, create, and then we'll write sprite. We're going to name it SPR_player. In GameMaker, a lot of people, will use camel case, which is lowercase first letter of the word, and then every other word has a capitalized letter. I prefer to go with the _went method. I know a lot of other people do as well, so SPR_player. In GameMaker, all these become basically variables the second you create them, so it's good to make sure that you distinguish them and just don't call it a sprite, or just don't call it player because it's in the sprites folder, because we can move these to other folders. So these are literally just organization. So keep that in mind. We're going to edit this image, and you get this really fun pixel image editor. I'm just going to make the whole thing green. So that's what we have here. We're going to click on this little resize sprite button, and we're going to resize down everything to 32 by 32. And hit apply, and it'll work straight at the box. We're also going to create another sprite. We're going to call it SPR wall, and we'll kind of follow the same method. I'll go with maybe a light gray, and just kind of do this. There we go. Then go to the sizing and go to 32 by 32. Hit apply. That gray's fine. You can go a little bit darker if you'd like. So we have these two sprites. You can set their origin to the center, to the middle center, for both of them. Doesn't really matter for what we're doing, but just for sake of it. And if you haven't noticed, this is a weird interface compared to a lot of other things. So we kind of have this big layout. I'm holding command and using my scroll wheel to zoom in and out. You can also hold the middle mouse button and pan while moving your mouse around, and then just scroll to go up and down normally. And then if you hold shift, you can go horizontal. But I just like to pan using my middle mouse button. Essentially what we can do is we just create more windows and windows and windows of things. So it kind of gets hectic. Just know that you can always close all, and you can always, and also you can create, separate workspaces. So say I close this, and I go to my second workspace and I open it. You can only have one window of the item at a time, but you'll see that we'll be able to kind of enter between both workspaces. Very cool. I'm going to close this workspace up. We don't really need the sprite anymore. And let's create some objects. We're first going to create our obj_player. And this is what that kind of looks, and you'll see that we kind of have this new view or window that kind of is together, and you can kind of see there's like lines and stuff. If I hit this X button, you'll see that it kind of folds, and you can see that things just kind of open up if you allow them to. And you can always just resize, I hope. Yeah, resize and resize. So I'm just we're gonna have it kind of looks like this. On your left, you're gonna see something talking about collision masks, how to set sprite and such. We're gonna click on the word no sprite here, and it kind of brings up a sprite catalog essentially. It looks where all the sprites are, so we'll open our sprites folder, and we'll select SPR player. And so this object is now tied to this sprite. So yeah, collision masks are essentially the way that we want things to collide with them. If we did a custom collision mask, we could essentially, make maybe only a circle inside of it so the edges wouldn't be collided upon. You can see right here, we can do a collision mask. This is the basic one, automatic, but you can always do like an ellipse, and you can see now if an other object collides with us, say right here, it won't register as a collision because it doesn't have the collision mask. So yeah, automatically most of them are rectangle. If you have a circle object, just go in here and you can change it to a ellipse. This is diamonds and precise and stuff for like more complicated pixel things, but it takes up more processing time as it calculates those collisions. So you don't really have to mess with that. That's just me telling you how collisions work and collision masks. All right, cool. So let's click add event, and you'll see a bunch of, I guess, causes, right? So if we can kind of think of events as cause, like in the whole cause and effect, right? Something happens, so we want to do something else. That's what events are. So you can kind of click add events and look through. So when we create the object, so the first time we kind of see it, I guess, the instance is made. When it's destroyed, when we clean it up, really won't touch that one. Step is really important. It basically happens every frame of the game. So checking every frame. An alarm allows for timers. We can draw, which allows us to draw interfaces and text on top of things. Mouse, when we click or press on a certain button or not. When a key is held down or a key is pressed, whether a key is lifted up from being pressed or down. Gestures, if you're doing mobile or games with touch screens. Object collision, we don't really have any other objects. And there's this other one, so when the game starts maybe, or the room starts, where room starts to get multiple rooms, which are kind of like levels almost. So, when the level starts versus when the game fully starts, or if there's some other events that we create, and then some other things, whether they're audio playback or in-app purchases, social, other things. So you'll hit add event and then create. It'll give you this little scripting preference. We're going to click on GML code and don't ask again for this project. We won't really be doing visual because I think it's easier to understand if you go with GML code, but that's just me, and I think it's helpful. Yeah, okay. If you've, I'm just going to zoom in. If you've programmed in JavaScript before, you'll understand that this is pretty similar. There are some pretty big changes to it. But it's a flavor of JavaScript, so it's JavaScript plus its own stuff. Right, so this is our basic code editor. It is super, super simple. So what we're going to do is, let's change the description. Let's write the description. Let's write code initialized upon player creation. We can hit save. If I close it, it'll update right there. So that's pretty cool. You can delete the second line. It's not really necessary. We kind of zoom in there so you can see. And we're going to declare a few things. We're going to work on motion first and movement. So we're going to declare a speed. We'll call that SPD, because speed is already a variable that GameMaker understands, and we're not going to be using it in the way that they'd like. And we're going to set that equal to maybe 5. It's going to complain. Yeah, cool. Okay. Then we're going to set a h_speed, and that's going to be equal to 0. And a vertical speed, or v speed, and that's also going to be equal to 0. H speed is basically going to be our motion to the left and right. And what is it? I'm blanking. And vertical is going to be up and down. So our down will obviously be a gravity factor that we're going to do, and our vertical will be a jump, essentially. So that's basically all we have to do there for now. So I'll kind of pan, if it'll let me. Cool. Hit add event, and then step. And then I'm just going to write frame by frame program. I'm just going to write that. That's probably an incorrect thing to write, but it's okay. All right. First, let's set up our controls. So you can see here that we didn't really use the word var. And essentially, the key of frame for reference is if we use the word var, it's local to this event. And if we don't, it's local to the whole object. So I'm going to write var key left, so is equal to keyboard underscore check vk underscore left. And then I'm going to write var key right equals keyboard underscore check vk underscore right. And then I'm going to write var key up is equal to keyboard underscore check vk up. All right, so this is obviously our left arrow key, our right arrow key, and our up arrow key. So we'll use this to go left, this to go right, and this to jump, basically. But there are a lot of people that also like to use, WASD or even the space bar to jump. So what we can do is we can write or keyboard underscore check. Then we're going to write ord, and then we're going to write A for our left. And then we're going to write or keyboard check ord D. And then or keyboard check pressed ord VK, or not even ord, sorry, VK underscore space. And I already messed up, but let's change that. We don't want our player just hold down the, to hold down the space bar or the up key and just get infinite jump. And in RPG, we wouldn't use the word press, we would just have a keyboard check, and we would actually get rid of this key, space and replace this with an ORD or an ORD W to go up. But this isn't an RPG, this is a platformer. Right. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to kind of explain to you how rooms work, and we're going to kind of create a very sample demo room. So first what we're going to do is create another object. We're going to name it obj underscore wall, and then we're going to give it a sprite of SPR wall. That's basically all we have to do. Right. Let's open up our room. So you'll see the rooms folder and you'll see this room. It's pretty big and we really honestly won't need most of it. But we'll just create a little small area. So click on obj underscore wall, hold down the option key, that's offset. I don't appreciate that. How it's not letting me. Let's do that. Oh, sorry. That has to be fixed on our end. Let's move that back to top left and move the other one up to top left just for our sake. Yeah. Sometimes this is just do it for the sake of ease. Okay, cool. If you press option while having this, if you have this selected first and you hold option, you'll kind of be able to drag this. Option will be on Mac, and then I think be Alt on Windows, and we can just click and drag a super basic room. I'll create maybe some platforms here. Cool. Actually, I don't like that. Let's do that. That way they can always just jump back up if necessary. Cool. Okay, I have this basic room here. And I'm also going to drag the player in. We'll just put him right here in the center. Or you can put him here in the center. Cool. So you might not be able to see it, but how things work in GameMaker is, you can actually see right here, you'll see my mouse as I zoom in on that, is if I go down, you'll see that the Y value actually increases. If I go to the right, you'll see that the X value increases. And if you go to the left, the X value decreases. If I go up, the Y value decreases. So it's kind of an inverted way that you would kind of understand a normal X, Y, and Z graph. Essentially, you were dealing in the fourth quadrant, almost, I guess. Not really fourth quadrant in a way, but the Y-axis is inverted. So we're going to keep that in mind as we kind of write this next code. And you got to know that right means positive, left means negative. Cool. Okay, so we'll go back here. We can actually just close this by hitting on the side. We're going to create something called var h under dir, and so our horizontal direction, and it's going to be equal to our key right minus our key left. Let me explain how this code works. So in code, this is whether a keyboard is like a key is pressed, it's true or false. That's essentially what we have, right? We also know, let me actually, key press, or a key check, I guess. Key check is always going to be equal to a true or false. Keyboard check is always going to be equal to a true or false. We also know that going to the right means positive values, and left means negative values. When something is true in code, it kind of has the numerical value of 1, and when something is false in code, it's 0, kind of basic binary if you ever kind of listen to that and hear it out. But it's true and false. So when I press on my key right, it's gonna be 1. I won't be pressing my key left, so it'll be 0. So that will give us 1. 1 is the positive side. Cool. But key left, if it's pressed independently, like right here, if this is pressed, it'll be equal to 1. Pressed equal 1. Same with this one. And even this one right here. But we need the left to go to the negative side, to the left. And the way we do that is basically by subtracting it. So if you end up in an instance where you're not pressing the right key, you'll have 0 minus 1. If you have an instance where you are pressing the right key without the left key, you'll have 1 minus 0, and that's equal to 1, equal to negative 1. And if you're pressing both keys, you'll have 1 minus 1, which is 0, indicating that you're not really moving either direction because you have the same amount of, I guess, pull/force going on both sides. So that's kind of like the very basic of how we want to go about this. We're gonna set a var called jump equal key up, just so we can kind of label that for the future. And then we're gonna have our var is on, or I guess is on the floor, and that's gonna be equal to place underscore meeting x plus, or x comma y plus 1 obj underscore wall. And I'll kind of explain what this does. So place meeting essentially tracks a collision. We're going to be tracing it at a certain position. And essentially, if there's a wall underneath us at the x and y of our obj player, because there's an x and y attached to this, you can actually double click on it and you'll see our x is 256 and our y is 160, right? But if I zoom in, come on, stop being all finicky. You can see that this would be, I guess, the bottom edge of that, right? Or x and y, and we want to basically add 1 so we can bring it down 1 more, and we want to check if there's a collision over the two. Right now, there's no collision. That's why we're doing y plus 1. We want to assume in the instance that there could be a collision if it could phase through the other object. So we'll kind of have that as a variable, and we'll use that in a little bit as well. we're going to set our h speed, we already had h speed, equal to our hdir times our speed. And then we're going to have our v speed. It's just going to keep adding, we're going to keep adding 1 to it. And this is essentially our gravity. I'm going to put this in quotes because it's not really gravity. It's really just a downward force. More like a downward force. What are you ever complaining about? Cool. Okay. And it's gonna come. What are you complaining about? It's only referenced once. That doesn't matter. Okay. So if I actually run our game, we can hit the play button. Oh, I wrote the wrong variable. I said that we weren't going to be using camel case, and I did it anyways. There we go. Okay. Let me get the game. So you have the game, and you can see that nothing is moving. I wonder why. And the reason that's happening is because we haven't actually told our x and y to do anything. So we're going to add x plus equals h speed and y plus equals v speed. And this is in our step function. Now if I hit play, and so yeah, it fell right through because we don't have anything, telling it that collisions exist. We set up a variable, we're not actually checking whether this exists. But this is completely different. This is just for us checking if we're on the ground. So we need to actually check if we're colliding against something in the vertical or horizontal space. So right after this v speed, after gravity is kind of implemented, we're going to write if place meeting, we already kind of did this, and we're going to do x plus h speed, y, obj underscore wall, then h speed equals 0. If you want to kind of format the code, you can highlight it and hit tab. You can go to the front, hit tab. What are you complaining about now? Oh, sorry, extra parentheses there. So essentially, if we hit something, right, on our x, what we're going to do is we're going to just eliminate our speed. So our x would stay the same because it won't let us pass through. And we're actually going to write the exact same thing for our, oh, I'm doing that wrong. For our vertical as well, plus v underscore speed. So essentially what we're doing is we're basically seeing if, are these values, right, if we go to these positions, are we going to hit a wall? That's essentially what we're checking. And we do that by just kind of testing whether that's going to happen at all. And if it does, we're just going to eliminate that possibility entirely. What are you complaining about now? Cool. All right. I'm going to mess with some things. And oh, this is why. That's why. It's not this var problem. We want to have that. All these variable names, I'm getting confused. And that's a bad thing, but it's okay. It should be fixed now. Cool. Okay, so to double check. Cool. Yeah, you can see right here. So I'm using A and D. I also have that. We haven't added jump code yet, so you won't see it, but you can also see gravity engine. So that's really, really cool. All right, let's add a jump. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. What we're going to do is we're going to add I guess we're going to add it before all of this because we want to make sure we collide. So I guess right here, we're going to write if is on the floor. So if we're on the floor, actually not even is, I want to rename that to on the floor. On the floor. And then we're going to say if jump, so if we press the jump action, we're going to increase our v speed. We're actually going to subtract, no, we don't. We don't need to, sorry. We're going to set it equal to -10. We never really need to have it apply to anything because that's just our gravity up there. So I'll kind of tab this to make it easier to read. Actually, let me space that out. Cool. There. That way it's kind of easier if you're trying to read it with all these panels and stuff. Oh crap. Okay, here we go. So that's kind of our jump code. We're going to set our v-speed to -10, so our y kind of goes upwards. So we'll hit play. Okay, so we have this, and now if I hit, you can kind of see I can jump. But my jump actually isn't tall enough, and you can kind of see there's like a 1 pixel edging that I guess is just kind of there. So we gotta increase the jump speed, I guess, or the v speed. Let's go to 20. I think 10 is basically its height, so it doesn't really get any ground to do anything with it. There we go. Yeah, it won't be able to go in there, but you can make like really big jumps now. You can also see I can't double jump, like a single jump around. Like that 15 or even like 12 maybe. No, but I don't like it. I don't like that. I wanted to go, oh, that's bad. There we go. Finished building. That looks good. Yeah, that's good. That's solid. You can't jump up there, but you can jump up there, and then you can go up here, and at corners it kind of gets confused, I guess. There's like a little bit of a lag. I don't know if you saw there. It also doesn't like let you jump off of a run, I guess, sometimes. But it's pretty good. Alright. So what we're going to do next is just add a super basic camera to it. And we're going to go to our room. The room actually gets added to this top workspace area. We're going to go to viewports and cameras. We're going to enable viewports. I'm going to kind of zoom out of here. This is the kind of cheap way to do it, but it works. We're going to set visible. I'm going to set the camera to maybe 640 by 540? No. Maybe like 320. Even like, I'm trying to think of a ratio that kind of looks good. Let me just drag this one out. Well, that's another 32 added to it, so I guess a height 54. 2, cool. Maybe 640 by 352 we'll set it to. And we're going to have it follow a object, so object player. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to make a little hole in this wall right here and kind of extend our room a little bit further. So I'm just going to create a little passage. And we're going to have it go down. Just start going down, I guess. We'll kind of have maybe a block here, a block there. So if the player wants, they can, oh, right there. They can kind of get their way back. And we'll kind of have it go to there. I'll let a little block right there just so you can kind of get more leverage. So we can actually hit run. And now you'll see that our game kind of zoomed in. We can kind of interact with it on a bigger scale, but you can now see that as I kind of move, it kind of follows me. Really weirdly, actually. But it follows in a very, like I said, weird way. This collision code is being kind of wonky. Maybe I just need to make the level better. But that's like a really basic way to kind of get around it. And also a part of that is because we hit our boundary here at the bottom. So I'm just going to actually extend the height by like 1500. Oh, yeah. No, wait, that was the wrong idea. Let me go. Sorry. Let's set this to 768. Set this to 1500. Cool. And then hit run. Maybe I have to set that one to 1500 as well. No? Cool, I'm good. Cool. This might look better because we have more space to work with. Now, let me go back. Let me also set this on to 1500 and see what happens. Oh no, that was a bad idea. Definitely set this to 768. Okay. So yeah, super basic, just camera following system. It kind of follows the player around. But what we're going to kind of do is take that to the next level. So we're actually going to, I guess, keep that the way it is. We're going to create a new object. We're going to call it obj_camera. It's going to be, we're going to give a sprite so it can kind of stay invisible. I'm going to kind of hide this panels. And we're going to kind of set it up like so. We're going to set the width of our camera. I guess, yeah, camera. And we're going to set that equal to 640. 640. And then the height of our camera is going to equal to 352, I want to say? Yeah, 352. And then it's just some really basic math and a step command. So in our step, we're just going to kind of set it to the x of our camera. We're going to set local, sorry. Var x_camera is going to be equal to obj_player.x minus the width of our camera divided by 2. So we kind of get it. And essentially what we're going to do is we're going to try and center the object always. Oh, not object player, obj player. And then we're also going to write camera_set view position. We're going to focus on view_camera 0 because that was the one we were manipulating over there. And then give it an xcam and a ycam. Sorry, not xcam, xcamera. Hit play, run, cool. I kind of already pressed a button or two, but you can now see that our guy just kind of stays in the center of the camera always, which kind of leads to a better playable experience because, well, now you can, well, move, basically. Alright. We can also kind of add a super basic drawing system that kind of draws the score of our game as well as player health. So we can kind of go back to our player, we can go to create, and we can create some new variables. So we can actually create things called global variables, which can be manipulated by anyone, anywhere, and also be read by anyone, anywhere here in the game. So we'll create global.player_health equals 3, and then global.player_score equals 0. We're also going to go into fonts and create a font. And it's going to give us Arial, and I'm fine with that. So font_Arial. And then what we're going to do is we're going to open up our camera. So open up the camera object. So much stuff going on. We're going to add an event called draw. And there. And it's here where we can actually draw onto the view. So we're going to get some variables set up actually. I'm actually going to move these. Actually, I'm going to keep these as globals. Right here, let me set it global. And then I'm just going to kind of use them here. So we're going to write draw_set horizontal align to be in the center. Then we're going to write draw_set vertical or V align to be in the middle. Then we're going to write draw_set font, and we already have font Arial. And then we're going to write draw_text_color, and we're going to write xcam plus 30, 32, ycam plus 32. Let's see what we kind of get from there. 32. We're going to set it equal to our global. We're going to write dot score plus points. And the reason we're doing this is because global score is kind of a number, so we want to convert it to a string, which is a text variable, and we're going to just kind of display it in white. See white, and then give it 1. So I'll hit the run button. Oh, sorry, we need to add several of these. 2, 3, 4. Not set before reading it. Oh, because it's not score. It's player underneath score, or underscore score. I messed up again, because that's just me. It's not that. It's y underscore camera. I don't know why I keep getting confused. My notes probably say differently. There we go. Okay. So now we have this, actually, you can see that we have this little score thing, and he's kind of there at the top. So it's kind of fun. I kind of want to probably obscure this X a little bit more. Maybe 64. I think this operates the same way as a... Yeah, this operates basically the exact same way as the normal graph, where you increase this way and you increase that way. So you can kind of see we have 0 points. And then on the other end, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw again. And I'm going to write lives. Health, lives. And it's actually going to be X camera plus plus, oh, let me zoom back in for you. Plus that, plus the underscore camera minus that. That should give us the right value that we want, but I'm going to see anyways. No, not V camera, H camera log. And I actually don't even think we need this camera value. Or no, we do need a camera value, sorry. Okay, I mean, it's at the bottom, which means that the Y doesn't need this. Yeah, that makes sense, actually. The Y does not need that. Hit play. Oh, there's also an X right there. Let me run that one more time. Cool. Okay, so now you can kind of see we have 3 lives and 0 points displayed. So to kind of end this camp out, what we're going to do is we're actually going to create 2 new sprites. So create a sprite right here. We're going to set the size to actually be like 24 by 24. Apply. We're going to edit it. This one's going to be red. And then we're going to call that one SPR underscore hurt. And we're going to create, I'm just going to really just duplicate this. And then we're going to call it SPR underscore point. And then we're going to do create SPR underscore help. Oh, I didn't think I duplicated that one. So here, I'll just go into here, I'll make it 24. Apply. Edit. I'm gonna make it a, well, if it's gonna help you, we'll make it kind of a heart, I guess. I'm gonna do really bad at this. Oh god. Okay. Forgive my font making skills, or my icon making skills. They are not up to par with practically anyone's. Cool. That's a heart. Challenge. Do better than me. And then our hurt, and then our point one will just be a blue. And I'm going to kind of do like a diamond, I guess. Let me just erase it. Or I'll make it a circle. We'll go with a circle. There's a little circle tool here. It allows you to kind of pull a circle into being. I don't really like how it works. Actually, I mean, I can just really start here. Oh, cool. Okay. That was very messy. There, perfect circle. Yay. All right, we're gonna create a object. And essentially what we're gonna write is, we're gonna attach it to the SPR point, obj underscore point, and then it's gonna be add a collision with player. It's literally just gonna be global dot player underscore score, and then instance destroy, which deletes this from the game. We can test how that looks by just adding it in straight off the bat. I'll just kind of add one right there, and I'll add 3 of them. Let it play. There. So you can kind of see I can play my game, whatever. Then I can grab my 3 points, and now I have 3 points. We're literally just going to duplicate this, and we're going to call it obj underscore hurt. And in this one, we're going to change the sprite to be the hurt sprite, and then instead of score going up, we're going to change the health, and it's going to go down actually. Cool. I'm also going to add a thing in the obj player in the step that basically says if global dot player health is less than or equal to 0, we're going to end the game. Game end. So we have game end. And then finally we'll have a help. So I'll once again duplicate this just to save time. It's going to be obj underscore help. And we can go change the sprite to this help one. And then instead of player, we're going to do health. Player health double. Cool. Okay, so we can go into our room and kind of set up a... Oh, I changed the wrong one. I messed it up. No, wait. obj underscore point 2. Alright, there we go. And then I'll rename that one point. Cool. So we've hurt, help, and point, and then we have like a game over sequence. So I'm just gonna kind of drag in a hurt block right there. I'll add a health block right there. Oh god, that sprite looks terrible. Add a point right there. We'll add another point right there. Maybe a hurt right here, but also a health right after it. And then just a bunch of points in the end. So I can actually run my game now. Hopefully it won't crash. Alright, cool. So I can obviously, get a point. There's 1 point. You can see if I hit that, oh no, I have 2 lives, but I can gain a life back. I can get a point, I can lose and gain a life, and then I can get my other points. We can also show what it's like to just lose the game. So I'll add a bunch right there. I probably should have added it earlier on, but it's okay. So I'll kind of just go get those hits. Actually, you just do, nope, you can't avoid it. But you can kind of gain it. And the game just kind of ends out. A more creative solution would to be having like a game over screen. Or in a game that we made last year for class, we had our mechanic was that you were going to die in the game anyways. So there was a little counter that counted how many times that you had to start from the beginning. But yeah, that's our super basic platformer that we designed today. It's not a lot of code, but you kind of get a really cool product out of it. And yeah, I hope to do a lot more GameMaker stuff, especially since I've been playing around with it for so long, and I have a lot of sample games in my backlog. But yeah, that's the end of this STEMpump camp. Have a good day, night, or wherever you are.